Just before this video gets going, I do want to mention that I have a Discord server. Join if you want to, suggest new video ideas, or come hang out with us. And if you like what you see here today, you'll like pretty much everything else on my channel, so why not subscribe? Thanks. Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about some more drama that's been going on in the Destiny community as of late. Ever since my last video, a lot of you guys had sounded off in the comments talking about either why you don't play Destiny 2 anymore, or why you didn't buy or don't like the Edge of Fate expansion. Now, as I was reading the comments and as they were coming in, I noticed that some of them were still holding out hope for the raid. And while I do understand a lot of the gripes that a lot of people had, I of course had some myself about the campaign. The raid was really an interesting time to remember. Of course, later on I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the raid race itself, but recently a list came out. Now, this is a list of cheaters who had participated in the day 1 Desert Perpetual race and ended up clearing it on contest mode. Now, for those of you who do not understand Destiny, or just watching or just getting into this stuff, pretty much every year Destiny has either 1 or 2 days for the tryhard sweats of the community, or people who just want to have a challenge in high-end PvE content, and we get that in the form of a raid, and the hardest version of that raid, the contest mode, which, like I said, usually lasts for a day or two. Out of all the players that actually raid and actually do play the game, only a few hundred teams to maybe a couple thousand teams will actually complete the raid on contest mode. Of course, depending on the raid, a lot of people actually ended up clearing Rooted Nightmares because it was an easy raid, but this one in specific, I believe only around 2,000 players actually cleared Desert Perpetual, and that was because it was essentially damage check the raid. Not only were the bosses insane damage checks, so much so to the point where people would have to consistently swap loadouts just to do as much damage as they could, with there being a lot of wipes at final stand like this one.
Crash!
Crash now. Crash!
Get him.
No! Wait, do we, wait, maybe?
No, this is it. Come on, please.
We don't get it.
But I believe even the red and yellow bar enemies were also taking less damage. So I guess you could see why there may have been a lot of players that had cheaters on their team, either knowingly or not, but this really just calls into question a lot of the legitimacy of the teams that cleared, or at least the teams that cleared and weren't streaming. Apparently the method of cheating that was used was net limiting. Now, in my experience, net limiting has been a reoccurring issue in Destiny, going back to either Scourge of the Past or even a certain Guardian Games event. I can't remember which Guardian Games it was, but I remember a lot of Titans were net limiting to increase the amount of points that the Titans would get to give them an advantage over the other classes. Now, in that sense, it really doesn't matter because it's just Guardian Games, right? Who cares? But when it comes to a day 1 raid race where other people who have been literally waiting all year for stuff like this, it's definitely going to get some people talking. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see a huge ban wave coming from Bungie themselves. I guess just to understand a little bit more of the situation, in my opinion, Astrocross explained it best a couple of years ago when this whole thing was happening with the King's Fall raid race. So here you go.
First up, the name net limiting derives from the software net limiter. This software allows you to halt or slow certain types of internet traffic from your computer. And in the case of Destiny, it's used by cheaters to exploit the game to produce some wacky results without disconnecting from the game. The most common use for net limiting is to deal more damage against enemies. There was a glitch in the past that allowed you to duplicate orbs of light for infinite supers using a net limiter. Now, we're not going to pretend to know the mechanics of how you go about reducing your internet speed. What's the margin here to cause these effects? Can you just naturally get this on McDonald's Wi-Fi? I don't know. But most likely it creates a discrepancy between client-side and server-side info. Granted, we're not software engineers here. What we do know is that it is still cheating. And we recently made a video discussing Zim and Cronus, devices that we consider to be cheating, as it does give you an advantage in-game. And if you want to check out our whole breakdown of that one, feel free. And the defense behind this is the same here with net limiting, is that it doesn't actually hack the game files, so therefore it's not actually cheating. But it is though, as it gives the perpetrator an unfair advantage. Now, I don't know if you know this by now, I am like the lead prosecutor of cheaters inside of Destiny. I take this stuff very personally. I will go out of my way. I will halt Sunday service to stop and fuck up a cheater. Now, the term I think many of us are more familiar with here is, of course, lag switching. This was actually a very common practice in PvP back in the day, especially in Destiny 1. You could use a lag switch to drop your connection, creating hell for any players that you were fighting against, constantly teleport across the map, and kill your opponents before they can even react. The thing about lag switching though was that it was so obvious. This net limiting thing, this is not as obvious. Now, why are we talking about this? The reason why this has become a hot topic in the Destiny community recently, and the alleged purpose for the ban waves, is the King's Fall raid. Yes, PvE of all things. There was very clear evidence surfaced of day 1 runs that were called into question or straight up disqualified due to net limiting. Reports surfaced as early as September 26 of accounts being banned due to net limiting. And even more bans have since been issued over the past week, with many taking to social media to complain about getting banned. Now, we have no idea how Bungie went about dishing out these bans. There's even a case of one YouTuber who who actually makes net limiter tutorials claiming their accounts wasn't banned, which caused him to question the legitimacy of the entire net limiting detection process. A lot of the controversy surrounding this decision revolves around supposedly innocent players getting caught in the crossfire. It's not like the first time we've seen this before. I shit you not, we have seen cheaters say, "I'm not cheating, I'm just using wall hacks." What? But in this situation, many people claim to have been wrongfully banned from the game, adding the CMs to lift the bans from their accounts. One of the people innocently banned was the developer of the website D2 Gunsmith, who goes by Dre on Twitter. He claims that he had no idea for the reason for the ban, speculating internet issues with his ISP, which may have been the reason. And despite not appealing, he was almost immediately unbanned just 2 days later.
Now here's what Paul Tassi had to say about this. As if Bungie needed to deal with any more Destiny 2 drama, player investigations have now revealed that among the limited number of contest clears for the insanely difficult Desert Perpetual raid last week, as many as 70% of the top 100 list appear to have been cheating. It seems too early to list dozens of specific teams here, as I've already seen at least a couple of false positives, but for the provable ones, many are very, very obvious. And further down below, he starts listing some stuff that are dead giveaways for cheaters, things like one person carrying with a butt ton of kills when the other team barely has any, extremely fast clear times that literally took teams hours, other weapons like blue rockets being used, endless heavy kills, and extremely fresh account that have absolutely no raid race experience. He also shows another example of a player named Batty Elk carrying his team absolutely top fragging with 315 kills, 4 deaths, and 2 assists with a KD of 78.75 and a clear time of 10 minutes and 21 seconds. Now I guess you can see why there's actually no footage of this, because I mean it would be a dead giveaway and Bungie would ban them immediately. Net limiting is considered cheating because it provides an unfair advantage, especially during a raid race contest that was meant to be hard. Now I guess one of the issues that people might have with the impending ban wave is that if somebody didn't know, then should they be banned as well? Honestly, I don't know if anybody ever had that thought, but it would be pretty obvious if somebody's cheating if a boss on contest mode instantly got their health bar snapped out of existence by one player. In my opinion, after that happened, if you left and then reported the guy, then I feel like you shouldn't really be banned because you weren't trying to cheat. But I feel like this could be a similar situation to how Trials was handled a couple of years ago, and I believe this is still the rule for PvP or for Trials specifically. If you know that a cheater's on your team and you still stick around with them and start winning with them, then your account will be banned too. Either way, 70% of the top 100 clears are insane. Like, that's just an absurd amount of cheating. Now granted, the raid race wasn't perfect, as with a lot of things in this DLC. Bugs plagued this raid. A lot of teams had to go out to orbit, reset, or just reset their game, come back and do the encounter over again. So much so to the point where a lot of people would consider this raid, at least on contest mode, to be a buggy mess, even though a lot of other people enjoyed the raid race or even just enjoyed how hard the enemies were to kill. I'm still definitely in agreement with those who think that this raid race definitely could have been better, or at the very least riddled with less bugs. Now I haven't finished the raid yet, but I have done one boss, still working on that hobgoblin, but from what I've experienced so far, everything looks pretty cool. I can't really remember the last time we got a Vex raid, and it's been a while, but I do like that Maya Sundaresh was included in this raid. She was a big part of it, and this whole race, narratively speaking, has left me wondering what's going to happen next with Maya. Is she going to achieve her goals of bringing the golden age to the present? And if she does, hopefully that means that we'll get a whole bunch of lore and unanswered questions into our Guardian's past. We'll probably get to learn more about what life was like pre the golden age, and who knows, we might even get to see Clovis for the first time. There's a lot of ways that they can go with the story, and the raid, I'm happy to say, sparked my imagination. There is one thing that I would have probably changed if I could. I know that we just got the Imp Swarm, which is a new Vex unit, one that I'm assuming is another one classified as the battle bots, as I've so affectionately called them in the past. That is to say, they're more like wyverns in the fact that they're geared more towards battle rather than construction like a Minotaur is. But one part of me held out hope that there was going to be another inclusion, or at least the introduction of a new Vex unit, and that would be the final boss. But instead it was just a big harpy, something that I'm not exactly mad about, as it's been done literally time and time and time again, but still, I guess it's just a little bit of a nitpick on my end. Anyways guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button. If you want more content similar to this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.